All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to teach you a little bit give you a few tips on learning how to surf. Surfing's going to get you into the water. It's going to get you into the fun, and that's pretty much where the whole thing's about. Surfing's supposed to be fun, right? You would think. That's why I do it. I'm hoping that what I'm telling you now is going to save you a little bit of time. Make it a little bit easier if you do decide to, try surfing, ease into the transition of learning, okay? I got surfing, started learning to surf when I was 37 years old. I got a little bit of a late start in life. I was dating a young lady, and she tore up my heart and threw it on the ground. And the next day I was wandering around on lunch break, and I walked by a pawn shop, and there in the window was a 9'1" surfboard. And I said to myself, the heck with the leash, I'm gonna learn to surf. And to this day, that's probably the best thing that a woman's ever done for me. I still I'll get out of the water and I'll be like, Alicia, I don't know where the heck you are, but thank you. And so anyways, equipment you're gonna use, basically surfboards, you're gonna need a surfboard, obviously. And you can't walk on water. I like your topic because it was kind of a nice lead-in for me with water. Stick away from the short boards. You basically have two general types of surfboards out there. You have your short boards, which are generally about maybe 6-7 foot tall. They'll be kind of like pointed at both ends. If you're trying to learn how to surf on one of those, it's kind of like learning how to drive in a Ferrari. They're very squirrely, and you're not going to get a lot of waves, and you're not going to have fun, which is the big thing that you want to have. Stick with a longboard. This is a 10-6. It's a board I had shaped, for me when I was a little bit heavier. It's a single fin. You'll have boards out there that three, 4, sometimes 5 fins out there. This is single. But a board like this, it'll get you into the water. It'll help you out. You'll get into waves a lot easier. It's a lot stabler. And it'll just make getting into waves super, super, super easy. Now, if you're learning to surf here in Southern California during the winter, you're probably going to need a wetsuit. This is my full suit. It's 3'2". The 3'2", that's the thickness in millimeters. The 3 millimeters is generally going to cover your abdomen, and the 2 millimeters your legs and your arms. And this will keep you warm. There's a lot of different kinds of wetsuits out there. You have short suits, suits that'll just cover your abdomen, but if you're learning to surf, full suit's generally the best way to go. Now, to keep you tied to your flotation device, which is your surfboard, you're going to need a leash. These things will save you a lot of hassle. In some circles, they're called kook cords. A kook is a person that's just kind of like learning how to surf, which is no problem, no derision there. But they'll save you a lot of hassle because if you wipe out or your board gets taken away by a wave, it'll save you a long swim back into the shore. So I highly recommend a leash. Now, to keep you stuck to your surfboard, see this stuff up here all over the board? It's called wax. It's surf wax. It comes in different for different temperatures, water temperatures. This is warm water sticky bumps here. When you put this on, you can either rub it around in circles, or going back and forth across. But the important thing is that when you put your surfboard wax on, you want a nice, even, there's a couple patches there, but a nice, even, thick coat on there, because that's your traction. That's going to help you from, keep you from slipping off the board. You don't need to put it on both sides. I've actually seen people put the wax on the bottom of the board. It's actually kind of funny. But this is kind of like, usually have a nice scent to it. If you want to pass this around, everybody take a look at it, Brought that to show around. I love this. So, let's move on to beaches. The type of beaches you want to learn to surf at. There's usually 3 types of surf breaks. You'll have point breaks, you're gonna have beach breaks and you'll have reef breaks. If you're learning to surf, pretty much stay away from the point breaks. Those are the type of beaches where the waves will come in, and they'll come in like this, and they'll be breaking here. But at those kind of beaches, you're generally going to see a lot of people, a lot of hot shots out there, a lot of people that they take it very seriously. And if you're trying to learn on that, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun because you're probably not going to get a lot of waves, and you're probably just going to get aggravated. You don't want to get aggravated when you're learning to surf because more than likely you're just going to put the board away and never go back to the beach. Now, I recommend the best type of beach to learn how to surf at is a reef break, like you might find down San Onofre, which is down in just down south of San Clemente in northern San Diego County. It's an old surf beach. It's one of the probably people have been surfing there since like the 30s. Almost 80 years now, and there's a lot of history there. And it's a nice place to learn how to surf because out in the water you'll have like a couple places you pull in. Like here's a parking lot here, and as you pull in, you'll have like first point here. And what you have is you'll have a bunch of cobble rocks, a bunch of little baby head rocks that'll be out in the water. And the waves will come in and they're nice, they break so easy. They're not like pitching over like you might see at a beach, not dumping over. And you'll have out in the water, a bunch of, all the rocks. This is like Old Man's, it's called, this is first point. And all you just got to do is sit out there. You don't have a lot of hot shots out there. You'll have a lot of old timers out there. The one thing I like about San Onofre is when I was learning to surf, I had a lot of people that they'd give me a lot of pointers. It's like when you're out there surfing, you're learning to surf, a lot of people will sit or they'll lie down on their board. They'll be too far towards the rear. And when they're paddling around, the nose of their board will be way up out of the water, about like so high out of the water. What you're doing when you're paddling around like that, you're plowing through the water. You want to be more towards the center so that the nose of your board is maybe a couple inches out of the water because you're more planing across it. It makes it a lot simpler. Okay? Now, when you first get out in the water and you're learning to surf, don't expect to be like just right off the bat popping up, just riding that wave, just like you see in the videos and everything. It's a learning process, and sometimes it can be a very very slow learning process. I always recommend, it's like how I did. I actually love the learning process. That probably was a favorite part of the whole surfing experience for me was getting out of the water and just learning, just being a kook. I enjoyed it. Get out there, paddle out, bob around. Learn how to, just learn how to balance on, just sit on your surfboard. And then when you like going for your first waves, don't try to go for like the unbroken waves. Stick with waves that are maybe about waist high, thigh high, and just catch the broken waves. Ride your surfboard like a boogie board. You all know what a boogie board is?
No.
You don't know what a boogie board is? The boogie board is it's a styrofoam little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You want to learn to surf like just lying prone, lying down on your surfboard, riding the waves like that. So that way you're kind of getting used to which way to go, to how your board's going to react and everything. Then once you kind of get used to doing that, and then catch the wave and then just kind of like pop up and ride it on your knees. A lot of people, just ride their surfboards on their knees. There's actually surfboards that are designed for kneeboard. They're called kneeboards, and people just do that their whole surfing career. And there's no problem with that. I actually still ride this thing sometimes like that. It's fun, especially if the waves are small. It'll make a small wave seem a little bit bigger. So I recommend just like I said, baby steps. And then once you get down the road a little bit, and you can start popping up, and then once you get a little experience, start popping up. You'll be down, paddling. Excuse me, guys. You paddle in, digging. my back's kind of messed up, so my pop-ups kind of suck. And, you know, you pop up to your legs. So I usually pop up to my knees. I broke my back a couple times. Well, neck, back, leg. Anyways, I digress. But it's about fun. You know, I keep coming back to that word. Surfing is fun. It's a source, you know. And I think back to, you know, what happened with Alicia and what, you know, what that's brought for me in my life. You know, I mean, it just totally gave me a new direction in my life. And I'm so grateful that I have this sport. And I could start crying right now, and I'm not going to. Anyways, I'm hoping what I told you, if you decide to, you know, give surfing a try, you know, it'll save you a little bit of time. And, you know, have fun with it, man. And real quick, when you get out there in the water, smile. Smile, and don't be afraid to ask people questions. Because I'll tell you, surfers love to talk. And they love to give pointers, because they all think they know everything about it, all right? So anyways, thanks guys, appreciate you listening.
Okay, I've got the time at 11 minutes and 15 seconds.
Sorry.
Questions?
So how long did it take you to like get the hang of it?
I'm sorry?
How long did it take you to get the hang of it?
I didn't actually stand up on a surfboard. It took me about 4 or 5 months to where I finally stood up on my feet. I've had a friend that I took down to San Onofre once, and his first 2 waves he rode on his knees, and the third wave he went right, I went left, and I heard hey, and I turned back, and there he is standing there, and I'm just like, his name's Jonathan too, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it depends. It depends upon, you know, the size. Of course, he was a little guy too. You know, and you know, I mean, I was a big guy. And, you know, I wasn't in the best of shape when I started surfing. So I think that has a lot to do with your physical fitness. You know, and how you are. It just depends on the person.
Is that thing actually called a leash?
It is called a leash.
Called a leash.
It is called a leash. Yeah. It is.
Maurice has a question.
Yes.
But wouldn't the leash land you down because to the surfboard, so if you try to paddle out, wouldn't it just like drag you?
No, you're paddling out on the surfboard.
No, like when you're like when you're ready to fall off.
No, the leash not. It's actually going to keep your board near you. You know, and it's going to keep your board from washing into the shore. You know, your board doesn't get in the way. By general rule of thumb, your leash, you want it to be about as long as your surfboard is, roughly. I mean, that's a little bit shorter because, you know, I like to surf some waves now that are they break kind of closer to rocks, so I don't want a longer leash because otherwise my board might get washed into the rocks.
And so even if like if it were to wash out, it wouldn't take you.
No, I'm not going to take you. Actually, you're more of an anchor than your surfboard is.
Yeah, right, it's intended to bring the surfboard to you, right?
Yeah. You just pull it right back. Yeah.
Is it almost every time you will get injured when you surf?
I've been injured, yeah. That's the funny thing. I mountain bike too, and I've been hurt worse surfing than I have mountain biking. I've broken my back too. I'll show you. Let's see this side. I love to brag about this. See this section right here? Right there? That's where I landed on my board and broke my back right there. I slammed, you know, I wiped out in some short break I was goofing around on, and the wave ahead of mine came back, hit mine, and shot us both in the air. My board landed in the water's about so deep, and I landed on my back right there. I don't mean to scare you guys. There's risk in everything you do in life. So, but yeah. I got wax all over. Yeah, do you have a question, Fisher?
How many different types of boards are there?
How many different types of boards are there?
Yeah.
How big's your imagination? There's a lot of different types. I mean, just this last summer I shaped a board. It's called it's a mini Simmons.
No, like, I heard there's like a long board and.
You have long boards, short boards, fun boards, eggs, 20s, fishes, you know, I mean,
What's that?
this is a longboard.
Longboard.
Yeah, it's a big, huge longboard. It's like an airplane wing.
No, I had never seen a long one.
Yeah, this thing's weighty. If you're learning to surf, you stick around 9 foot, 9.5 foot. You know, that'd be probably just perfect. I learned on a 9.1. You know, but
So would that be like I just feel like that would be unmanageable for my size, just like
This-
it's huge, yeah. Like,
this board, a young lady like you, this would get you into any wave that you had your eye on, and you would make people jealous surfing this board. I mean,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
board, it's like a big clumsy thing on land, but once you get into the water, it's like a dainty little ballerina.
that's
So,
cool.
Do you have problems getting out with a board that big? Like, it
If you
feels
get a
like
little-
just keep getting washed back.
yeah, sometimes, if the waves are big. But also, if with a big board like this, you get a little bit of speed going on it, because, you know, it's so big and it sits so high on the water. You get a little bit of speed, you just push right through them. And you you'll make better time, because it's, you know, it sits so high on the water. You know, you'll make better time between the brakes coming and hitting you.
Right.
You know, and like I said, it's a lot more stable. With a short board, you could duck dive, where you kind of like get towards the front of the board, and you push it underneath the water.
Right.
You know, on bigger waves, yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble. You know, that's something you want to watch when you're learning to surf. Is, you know, sit on the beach a little bit, time the sets. You know, a set is when like the bigger waves come in. You know, maybe a set will come in every 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes. Time the sets, and then paddle out during a lull, where there's not so many waves coming in. So yeah, use the lulls. You want to time yourself, and also look for. A lot of people say, "Oh, stay out of the rip currents." You know what? Rip currents are a surfer's friend, because they are gonna take you right out to the lineup, and lineup's where you want to sit when you're catching waves. You always look for the rip currents. You know.
No, I've tried before and I was not very successful.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? If you're learning to surf, I highly recommend being consistent. I was lucky enough that I had a job I didn't have to start until noon, and so I could get out and go, every morning, and most every morning if the surf was good, and get out in the water. And which was I still had a sucky learning curve at it, but like I said, just being in the water, it's so special. I mean, just to sit out there, watch the sunrise. You see, it's like everybody's, oh, dolphins. When you're a surfer, you see dolphins so much that you're just like, another dolphin won't be, But at the same time, they're pretty cool. I like dolphins. I've been sitting there at El Porto, which is near Manhattan Beach, and I watch a pod of dolphins go by, and then I turn back to look for waves, and right there's this dolphin sitting there floating, just eyeballing me. And it scared the hell out of me. He wanted to board and catch up his buddies and everything. It was pretty cool. Any more questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Another day. 35 pounds of goodness.
Okay, can someone get the lights, please?
Have you been in your board meeting?
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Appreciate your patience. It was fun though.
Are you recording yourself?
Yeah.